Welcome, my dear friends. Today is Monday of the first week in Advent, and we have a fantastic presentation today in the readings. We have a reading from Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah, and prophet Isaiah is the prophet of Advent. So we're going to listen to him for quite a number of days in Advent. And today, he tells us, "In the days to come, the mountain of the temple of the Lord shall tower above the mountain and be lifted higher than the hills. All the nations will stream to it. People without number will come to it, and they will say, 'Come, let us go to the mountain of the Lord, to the temple of the God of Jacob, that he may teach us his ways, so that we may walk in his paths, since the law will go forth from Zion, and the oracle of the Lord from Jerusalem.'" This is Isaiah's view of the coming of the Messiah. And he's going to come, and he represents that coming by the temple which is built on the mountain. And that is why he says, "Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord." In other words, the mountain of the Lord is the Lord himself. The temple was the presence of God among his people. And therefore, he's calling us to faith, to recognize the presence of God in our midst, the presence of the Redeemer in our midst. Now, in the gospel today, the gospel is from Matthew chapter 8, verses 5 to 11. And Jesus is there among his people. Now, Jesus is the promised Messiah, but not many people recognized him as such. Not many people knew him as such. But listen to this beautiful example. Now, it happens that Jesus is among the Jews, his own people. But there was one person who was the centurion, a non-Jew. And what happens to him? He hears about Jesus. He hears about the miracles that Jesus is doing, and he comes to Jesus. You see how the prophecy of Isaiah is being fulfilled. Peoples from everywhere will come, and it's represented in that centurion. And what does the centurion come for? He comes for the healing of his servant. And he comes and says, "Jesus, please heal my servant." And Jesus says, "Sure, I'm going to come to your house." He says, "No, don't come, because I'm a man of authority. I tell one servant to go, and he goes. Another, come, and he comes." And then Jesus listens to him, and this is what he says. "I tell you," Jesus says, "I tell you solemnly, nowhere in Israel have I found faith like this." Now, this is what the first day in Advent, Monday in the first week of Advent, is calling us to: faith. Do I have faith like that centurion who was a foreigner among the people of God? And Jesus lifts him up and says, "I tell you solemnly, nowhere in Israel have I found faith like this." My dear friends, my question to you is, during this period of Advent, build up your faith. Do you have faith in Jesus? Let's conclude. Let's focus. Our focus is on faith. And I'd like to leave this quote from the scriptures with you. "I tell you solemnly, nowhere in Israel have I found faith like this." My friend, increase your faith and walk in faith.